Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Enemy of God by Bernard Cornwell, book number 2 in his Warlord Chronicles trilogy about King Arthur. Book number 1, you can see my review of book number 1 elsewhere on the channel. The Winter King, just type in Durfee and The Winter King. The review will magically appear upon your screen. I swear to God that it will. And then book number 3, which we will review sometime in the future, Excalibur. Great trilogy, probably my favorite retelling of the Arthurian legends. In fact, I've got a video. It's basically my top 5 Arthurian legends book series, so you can Google that one too. Anyway, let's talk about the cover. We always talk about the covers first because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. This book came out in 1996. They used this great Victorian painting by Lord Dixie. Now, this was probably just a piece of art they found in the public domain because it's an old classic painting. And I think that is of Lancelot or something like that. I think that was the name of the painting. But anyway, we've also got signed copies. Most of my Bernard Cornwell collection is signed because I have met the gentleman and he signed them all to me. We'll look at that one. We'll look at the Excalibur. I'll show you that one is signed also, signed to Brian Lee Durfee. And then, if you notice, I've got my entire Bernard Cornwell collection right here. On this shelf, we've got all the Sharp novels. Then on this shelf, we've got all the other Bernard Cornwell books right here. His Last Kingdom series, the Starbuck Chronicles, all of them. I've got every Bernard Cornwell book in my library, in my vast library. Anyway, let's get back to the book at hand, which is Enemy of God. Like I said, if you want to know what the first book, I got a review of the first book. Go find that. It's about Durfel. He's our narrator, not Durfee. It's not after. The narrator isn't me, although I picture myself in the narrator's spot, and our names are similar, Durfel or Durfee, so I just picture myself being Durfel, but it is, he is the narrator. It is told in the first person from his perspective. He is a Saxon slave that grew up in Merlin's sort of household, and he became one of King Arthur's most trusted soldiers. Along with, Galahad, Bors. I mean, all of them. Percival, everybody. Lancelot, although Lancelot in this series, Lancelot and Galahad are brothers that grew up in France, specifically at Mont Saint-Michel. If you know anything about France and Mont Saint-Michel takes a big part in book 1. Not so much of a part in here, but they're brothers. Galahad is very, very noble. Lancelot is very, very skeevy. I love the strife between Galahad, Lancelot, Arthur, and Guinevere, and everybody. I mean, this book is full of some drama that those characters create between themselves, and Durfel is right in the middle of all of it. In fact, King Arthur is charged with protecting young Mordred. Mordred is the direct heir of King Uther. Arthur is more of a bastard son of King Uther. Mordred is the king in waiting, and Arthur's job is to protect him. But he's a crippled boy, and he's not a very good boy. He's not a nice guy at all. And we get to see him grow up. Now, Merlin is obsessed with finding this magic cauldron, and in the history down in southern England, Glastonbury. The reason I'm wearing the Glastonbury shirt is because Glastonbury Tor is supposedly where Avalon was, and so and it is certainly figures deep, deep and is steeped in Arthurian legend if you ever go to Glastonbury tour. Anyway, Merlin is obsessed with a magic cauldron. Now, magic cauldrons were a big deal back in ancient Wales and ancient England. And so this magic cauldron represents sort of like the Holy Grail. And they actually do go on a quest. Durfee and Merlin and a few of them go on a quest for this magic cauldron. You know, a lot of the, like Morgan, Morgan is Arthur's half-sister whose face is deformed, and so she wears like this golden mask, which is dynamite. That's brilliant. I love that. But anyway, her and I can't remember the name of the other girl. And anyway, they go on this quest for the magic cauldron. Things go sideways. Lancelot is, even though he's sort of our antagonist throughout this entire series, Arthur wants to believe in Lancelot's nobility, even though Lancelot never shows nobility. Galahad, his brother, shows nobility, and Arthur wants desperately for Lancelot to be like Galahad, and to the point where he gets Lancelot betrothed to Senwine, who is the beauty of the land. But Senwine is also Durfal's crush, and Durfal is Senwine's crush. They've got a little crush on each other. And Senwine does not want to marry Lancelot, but Arthur has promised her to Lancelot, which gets in the way of Durfal's dream. And I won't tell you how that storyline turns out, but it is dynamite and bloody and very, very surprising. Who comes out as the hero in that love triangle? I love the pathetic nature of young Mordred, the crippled heir to King Uther, because this is kind of towards the end of this book. He sort of starts to usurp Lancelot as the main baddie in the story, and it's just great. Overall, these books are so fantastic. I just hit the tip of the iceberg. I listened to this on Audible recently. The Audible narrator was Jonathan Keeble, and he's done all three of them, and it just does a great performance. And he does it in such a great, deep Welsh accent that you just can't help but think that you're right there amongst all the shining knights and the round table and Excalibur and all the armor and the horses dripping with armor. It's just beautifully written. I think almost perfectly written. I mean, there's not one word or one note that's out of place. And the way that Bernard Cornwell ramps up the tension and drama in these books between all of these different players is just nothing short of brilliant. And it's just something that all writers should aspire to. And a little bit of writing advice here at the end of this video. If you want to learn how to set up drama and conflict between characters, study deeply this trilogy and how Bernard Cornwell does it, because it is note for note perfection. I give Enemy of God a 10 out of 10, and I gave The Winter King a 10 out of 10, and this just amps it up even more. It's just one of the greatest pieces of literature that we've got on the planet right now. Everybody that's into fantasy or historical fiction should be gobbling these up. Anyway, that's the end of the video.